In his first statement since Russia gave him and his family asylum, Bashar al-Assad claims he was ready to stay on in Syria and fight the rebel forces, but he was evacuated by Russia from their Hmeimim base on December 8th as it came under attack. He left Damascus hours before rebels poured in and took over the capital, ending 5 decades of his family's iron-fisted rule. Assad claims he did not consider stepping down as Syria's president, referring to the opposition forces as terrorists. Russia has given humanitarian asylum to Assad, his wife Asma, and their 3 children, after rebel forces took control in a lightning advance that started from Aleppo. Assad's 24-year-old brutal rule came to an abrupt end after insurgent forces led by Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham swept through Syria. In the last few hours before he was ousted, it became clear to Assad that his allies, Iran and Russia, would no longer support him even if he wanted to plan a counter-offensive.
If they had received support, they could have achieved victory again with the determination of the opposition. They certainly would have, but it could have taken a very long time and it could have been bloody. But the Russians and Iranians saw that there was no point in this anymore. We said that very clearly. There is no point. In other words, the man they invested in was not a man to invest in. Global conditions were no longer the old conditions. There was no point in continuing like this any longer. They had to turn away from the damage. There was no point in killing more people, bombing civilian settlements.
According to a report in Reuters, Assad played his cards very close to his chest, keeping his military leaders, even his closest family members, completely in the dark on his moves. His final hours in Syria, a country he ruled for over 2 decades, were clad in deception and despair. Almost no one in his immediate circle knew what his plans were. In fact, hours before he escaped, he had told his army generals and military leaders that Russian military support was on its way. On his recent trip to Moscow at the end of November, the same day that Aleppo fell, Kremlin had made it clear that it would not intervene. It was Russia's support in 2015 that had turned the tide in Assad's favor in the nation's civil war that stretched for 13 years in all. In reality, Moscow told Assad that there was no help coming and Assad was on his own. He also told his presidential office manager that he was headed home when he fled to the airport in Damascus, eventually traveling to Latakia's Russian base of Hmeimim, from where he fled to Russia. A Reuters report said Assad didn't even loop in his younger brother Maher, who was the commander of the army's elite 4th Armored Division. Maher flew in a helicopter to Iraq and then to Russia. Assad's cousins, though, weren't as lucky. Assad's maternal cousins, Ehab and Ayad Makhlouf, were left behind as Damascus fell to the rebels. According to Reuters, they tried to flee by car to Lebanon but were ambushed on the way by rebels who shot Ehab dead and wounded Ayad. Please like and share this video if you found it interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to StratNewsGlobal YouTube channel.